And what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It is your boy Cheap Ludes, and we're back with another tier list. Look, I'm sorry if you're tired of it. I got to finish up all 5 positions. So today we're doing the top power forwards in NBA 2K21, my team, current gen. Why do I say that? Just to be petty. I suppose that's the only reason. But either way, help your boy out with a like. Comment down below and subscribe to the channel if you are new, obviously, but we are going to rank every single power forward in NBA 2K21 my team. With that being said, though, we are only doing guys whose primary position is power forward. So center / power forward, those will be on center tiers, blah 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 blah. If you watch any of the other tier lists, you kind of get the general idea. S tier, unquestionably the best in the game. These guys will instantly help your team no matter how good you are or what playstyle you employ. A tier, these guys are going to be better than most cards. Not quite S tier, but right there, they'll do the same things. B tier, very good cards. They'll be helpful. C tier, more than usable in certain fashions, I guess. D tier, they're really good at 1 or 2 things, but generally guys above them will be much better. And F, guys I typically recommend people just don't use at all. So with that being said, let's get started. AC Green. AC Green kind of fits the mold of like a D tier guy, and the reason for that is he's about 6'9" with a 7-foot wingspan, which is pretty solid. He plays exceptional defense, but he's not really bringing you anything else. He's not really bringing you any scoring from the post. He's not really bringing you too much shooting. He's going to play excellent defense and get some putback dunks, and that's about it. Like I said, 1 or 2 things he does well. Other than that, not a whole lot. So he's D. Zach Randolph, F. He plays good defense. He can shoot the mid-range a little bit, but he's super slow. His bad situation is really bad just because he's outdated. Nothing wrong with the card whatsoever. It's just he's outdated to the point, like, when I did my first tier list, he was like D. Now it's a month later. X amount of cards have come out. He's down in F tier. Next up, we got an obvious inclusion in S tier, which is Tim Duncan. There's a reason he's one of the most expensive cards in the game. He's absolutely incredible. He does a little bit of everything. Yes, I would like his ball handling skills to be a little bit better, and I would also like his speed to be a little up. His jump shot can be a little bit slow if you're not used to it, but at the same time, like, just how dominant this card is, and the fact that he's got a 90 ranked 3-pointer, that puts him easily in S tier for the power forward position. Now, if this was like a center list where there is a lot of good centers, I don't know. I still think he jumps in S tier, but he does play more as a traditional center than he does as like a power forward, but he is, for all intents and purposes, a power forward. So here we are. Nene. I think he's very similar to AC Green. I don't think there's a whole lot different between the two, so I don't really know if I can actually say that one's better than the other. They do basically the same thing. They both just rebound and play defense and get putbacks. Nene has a little bit of a jump shot that he can shoot, but so does AC Green, so I think they both deserve to be right around D tier. David West. I'm going to throw him in B tier for now. He's really, really good. He may move up to A tier, just kind of how I decide to shake this out. But he's got an incredibly good interior presence. He can shoot the corner 3 pretty decent. He's got good badges. He actually has a pretty nice jump shot as well. We'll see who ends up in A tier, and then we'll go from there. But right now I'm going to put him in B. He may move up, though. Anthony Davis. Let's see. He's all right. I mean, if you badge him up, he's pretty decent, I guess. But I think he's better than Nene and AC Green to a certain extent. That just a lot of that comes from his player build, and he can shoot the mid-range, and if you badge him up and give him a shoe and stuff, he can shoot the 3 a little bit. So I don't know, he's okay, I guess. The main thing is you don't run into AC Green and Nene very often online. You will run into Anthony Davis online. It's just his player build. Antonio McDyess. I think he's better than Nene and AC Green, but he does basically the same thing as them. So I think that's the only reason he's really in C tier, is just because I would recommend using him over these two guys. But at the same time, he doesn't do a whole lot more than them. but he's just much better at those things than these two guards right here. He's got better badges, better hot zones. He can shoot a little bit better than them from the mid-range anyway. His three is kind of whack, but he does have good finishing badges. AC Green has clamps and McDice doesn't. I'm putting him down. They're all basically the same. Draymond Green, A. Yeah, he's still really good. I like Draymond Green a lot, actually, and I usually hate him in game. But this year, that's a lot different. He's really good. He shoots well. He rebounds well. You can facilitate and use him as like a point forward or a point center. He's a staple in small ball lineups basically since he came out. He's an incredible card. He's really good. Bailey Howell. B. He's okay. I wouldn't run him at power forward. He's a little bit too small for that. But give him some shooting badges. He becomes like a pretty good sharp shooting small forward, power forward. Got a really easy to time jump shot. He basically has like Trey Burke base. He's a good card. I mean, I got nothing wrong with this dude. He's pretty solid. Karl Malone. D. Garbage. You know what? Just because it's Karl Malone, I try to be not biased, but Karl Malone is like a terrible person, so I'm going to put him in F because I just hate Karl Malone. Like, he's awful. Card's not terrible, but him as a person, he's D tier probably, but I'm going to throw him at F just out of principle. Billy Cunningham, D. He's okay. He's okay, I guess. He's small. He does play small forward, though. He's like a way worse version of Bailey Howell, if I'm not mistaken. Let me double check here. I don't believe he's really someone that can go up too much in shooting, which is kind of a problem for someone who plays the way he does. I mean, he has a 73-pointer. He has a lot of finishing badges. You can't give him too many shooting badges. You can't give him like Hot Zone Hunter, which would help him out a lot. You can't give him clamps or anything as well. Yeah, I just don't like this card very much. He's okay, though. He plays good. He belongs in the defensive specialist big man down here. There's going to be a lot more D-tier guys in like this than anyone else. Drew Gooden. Drew Gooden's actually okay. He deserves to be like C-tier. He plays decent defense. He has good rebounding badges, and he can shoot a little bit. He fits the mold of like a C-tier player. Amari. I think Amari's A-tier, to be honest with you. I think he is. That's tough. He might drop down. I don't know. I think he's a little bit better than David West, but it's tough. It really is a personal preference thing. I prefer Amari Stoudemire just a little bit more, but I'm not if like, I don't know. It's tough. I'm going to have to think about that one. Bobby Jones. Bobby Jones D tier too as well. He brings pretty much nothing on offense. He's just like all of these guys. Just a good defensive rebounding power forward that won't shoot really well. Doesn't bring you a whole lot on offense. Plays pretty decent defense. Giannis. B. Yeah, Giannis is super annoying, but obviously this card's bad situation is a little out of whack, and he can't shoot whatsoever. I personally would rather have Amari and Draymond Green, and I honestly would rather have David West, but I will admit that they're probably on the same tier here. Kevin Love. He's A tier. When you have a power forward that can shoot this well and he has good rebounding badges, like you have to put him on A tier. I'm not a huge fan of Kevin Love, but I will see his value, and I can't really say he's lower or higher in tier than Draymond. He shoots the ball better, but he plays worse defense. And Draymond can ball handle pretty decent, so I think that's probably why they're here. Around the same tier, I might drop Amari down, just kind of depends. Bob Love. Bob Love's okay. He's actually pretty decent, to be honest. He probably deserves to be in this little tier right here, B tier. Pretty solid. I would play him at small forward, personally, because he's only like 6'6", 6'7", I think. It's a little small. He can't really shoot that well, but he does everything else pretty good, so. Thurl Bailey. Thurl Bailey's super solid. He's like a C tier. He's actually really good. I think the highest tiers this time will probably be like B and D. There's not very many power forwards that are incredibly like mediocre, but there are ones that do a couple things okay, and there are some bad ones, and then there are a few like pretty good ones and then elite ones. So we'll see. I actually like Thurl Bailey though. He plays really good defense. He's big. He gets rebounds. He can shoot a little bit, especially from mid range. So I think he's better than Anthony Davis and Drew Gooden. He deserves to be right here, but I don't think he's up here in these guys. Boris Diaw, on the other hand, is. He's actually a super elite. He's like a budget Draymond with Nicholas Batum sigs. Like, he's really good. He's one of my favorite budget big men in this entire game, and I will go and use him occasionally. Scalabrini, C tier. He plays a little bit of defense, which is okay. He's got a pretty nice jump shot. He's got good size. Like, he can ball handle a tiny bit. He's actually really not that bad of a card, which is surprising because, you know, Scalabrini shouldn't be good in any way, shape, or form. Hot Rod Williams. No. Hot Rod's, yeah, he's really bad. I don't like this card at all. He can't do any, like, legitimately all he can do is rebound. Like, he can't stay in front of people. He doesn't really block shots too well. I would take all these guys over him because they all rebound either just as well or in, like, a couple cases, like Bobby Jones and Nene rebound the ball better. AC Green defends better. Billy Cunningham actually has a decent shot block, and Antonio McDyess runs the rim really well. I think they're all better than Hot Rod. Jeff Green. Okay, this one's not going to be popular, but Jeff Green is absolutely insane. He is such a good Emerald card. It's worth putting him up here. Basically, all these power forwards are the same. Just the way they operate. And Jeff Green is just, he's a 2K monster, man. There's nothing I can really, like, tell you to explain that Jeff Green is just always good in 2K. Truck Robinson. He's probably F2. He's just, look, everything that I said about Hot Rod Williams goes for Truck Robinson too. Like, all these guys are better than him at the things that he's good at. Does that make sense? Rodman. He's either C or D. I'm going to say he's C tier because he does everything that these guys do, just significantly better. But he still can't shoot, so I would say he'd be at the lower end of C tier. But I can't say he's too much different than, like, Thurl Bailey or, like, you know. He's a really, really elite defensive card that doesn't bring you much on offense, but he is elite defensively. Al Harrington, he goes right here in C tier too. Put him right next to Drew Gooden. He's like Drew Gooden, whereas Drew Gooden plays a little bit better defensively. Al Harrington plays much better offensively. He can shoot. He can handle the ball a little bit. He's actually a really good card. I don't usually like Al Harrington in game, but he's pretty solid. Kenny Martin is D tier. Look, there's a trend in D tier. Obviously, as you can see, it's just a bunch of guys that play pretty decent defense or, like, rebound the ball and then don't do much else. Danielle Marshall, D tier. He's okay. Plays okay defense. He can shoot a little bit. I was actually pretty stoked on this card when they first announced it because he could play a small forward as well. Ended up just not being that good. Andre Karolinko. I'm going to put him at C for right now. He may move up to B tier because he is a pretty good card. He just lacks a lot of the important shooting badges that I wish they had, and they ruined his jump shot. They didn't give him base 11 or LaMarcus Aldridge base, which they should have. I don't really understand what that was about. Just because I don't understand why you don't give it to him. He does have good hot zones, though. He has good finishing badges. You can't put a single shooting badge on him, which is stupid because he was known as a good shooter while he was in the league. He does have, like, silver dimer and stuff, and you can't give him, like, floor general and handles for days and badges like that. And he has elite defensive badges. But I mean, he's got good stats too. He has like an 80 midi, but I would take all these guys over him. That's the issue I'm having right now. I don't think he's at the level of Bailey Howell or Boris Diaw. I think those guys are better than him, and Giannis, just for player build alone, is better. So Josh Smith. Yeah, Josh Smith is so good. Personally, like, if we're talking like personally, like I'm building a team or whatever, I like Draymond for my personal play style and my personal team a little bit more than Josh Smith. And even if I was using Josh Smith, I'd put him next to Tim Duncan. But I can't deny the fact that there's not very many power forwards that A, can shoot the ball, play make, they can play defense, block shots, run rim. He can do literally everything. Elite badges too. He's just, yeah, he's an S tier card. Jermaine O'Neill. Jermaine O'Neill is actually pretty decent. He's like B tier. He's very similar to David West, actually. They're pretty similar cards. I can't say he's A tier, but he's pretty solid. Alvin Hayes. Alvin Hayes is probably C tier. I don't really like him that much, but he's okay. He does the job. Like, if you have Alvin Hayes, like, he'll do work. And the only reason I'm putting him in C instead of B is just because the trade-in for Alvin Hayes is absolutely not worth it, and I don't think he's that good of a card, and he's a little bit small, too. But if you trade it in for him and you have him and you like him, like, go ahead and use him for sure. That's why I have him in C tier. C tier is mostly guys that if you do really well with them, I recommend using them, you know? Buck Williams. Buck Williams is B tier. He's a better version of Alvin Hayes. He's actually one of the best defensive cards in the game. I think he's better than Bill Russell, personally. A lot of people say that Diamond Bill Russell from Season 1 was probably like the best interior defender in the game, but I gotta say Buck Williams is up there. He is really that good. Boozer, C. He's alright. He can shoot the midi, he plays defense, he can run rim a little bit. Great player in the pick and roll if pick and roll worked, but it doesn't, so. Derek Coleman, I mean C tier. It's like whatever. He's really similar to Rodman. Rodman's a little better than him in some aspects, and Coleman's better in some others, so. Chris Webber. It's tough, man. B. Yeah, I gotta say he's B tier. I just think if I move him up to A, I have to move David West up there too for different reasons. Chris Webber's like a worse version of Draymond. Like, he can facilitate a little bit. He's got like dimer and stuff like that. His jump shot's weird. Some people like it. I don't personally. So if you're a big Chris Webber fan and you think he belongs in A, I'm not going to argue with you in that scenario. Like, definitely not. Like, yeah, for sure. For me personally, he's a B tier guy, but like, if you are telling me how good you are with Chris Webber and you think he deserves to be an A tier, hey, I'll listen to you for sure. Scola, mid tier. He's alright. Just a C tier, pretty decent defender, can shoot a little bit. Post game's pretty decent. He's just okay. A little small at 6'9", but most of these guys are small. So, Tom Heinsohn. Sorry, buddy, you're D tier. I really like Tom Heinsohn too, but they ruined his jump shot this year. It's so awkward. Other than that, though, he runs rim really well, and he plays pretty decent defense. He's just a little bit small. I will say he'd be C tier if he was power forward, small forward. But because he's power forward center, that hurts his card a lot. I will say that. Christian Laettner. Yeah, this kind of sucks. I don't really want to do this, but C tier just because he does a little bit of everything. So, can't say he's that much worse than like Jeff Green, if we're being real. Danny Manning. Danny Manning and Thurl Bailey are very similar. Great defensive card. He's got that. Danny Manning's player build alone is one of the things that catapults his card up. He just athletically, he's built really well that you can kind of handle the ball with him. He rebounds pretty well. He has a decent interior defense. He can't really shoot, but he can shoot if he's wide open, so it's one of those things. He's decent, though. Let's see. What do we got? Rashard Lewis. C tier just for the fact that he shoots threes really well. At the power forward position, you're not getting a whole lot of guys that are elite sharpshooters, and Rashard Lewis is. And he can hold his own a little bit on defense to the point where you'll have to hide him still, but he'll still be able to like pull down a rebound or two. That's kind of a big thing. If we're looking at the, what's the word? Set of rules on which guys go to which tier, he makes sense to go to C tier. So, same with Jaren Jackson Jr. He's like pretty good. He can hit from outside a little bit if he's wide open. Especially in like TTO and stuff. He is a good interior defender. He rebounds pretty well. He can ball handle like just enough. You're not going to be over here doing crazy dribble moves with him, but if he's wide open, he'll be at least able to dribble the ball a little bit and like dish it or cut in. So Tom Sanders. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Tom Sanders. I think it's just a personal bias thing because I got done with him one time in Limited and I just hate him so much. He's just a little bit small. He can't shoot. He plays good defense, but at the same time, at the power forward position, I'd rather have all these guys in D tier over him personally. Dave DeBushier. Strictly as a power forward, he's C tier. But he can play small forward. He's pretty decent. He's got an easy-to-hit jump shot. He's just a little outdated. He was one of the beginning reward cards, so I would liken him to like Bailey Howell. He's like a worse version of Bailey Howell, if that makes sense. Derek Favors, not a fan. Once again, like all these guys, except for obviously Danielle Marshall and Tom Heinsohn, they're in D tier for a different reason, obviously. But the rest of these guys, I think, just do what these two cards do as well. They just do it a little bit better. So, Dirk. I don't like Dirk Nowitzki. I will say that right off the bat. This card actually kind of sucks. I hate him. But at the same time, the discrepancy between the defense and rebounding of these cards and the shooting ability and ball handling ability of Dirk Nowitzki makes me basically have to put him in C tier. And obviously I can't sit here and tell you that Dirk's worse than Rashard Lewis or Christian Laettner. I would take Scola over him personally, but that's like a personal beef thing. So Horace Grant sucks. Also, I'm a Bulls fan, so fuck Horace Grant. I don't know. He's come back around lately. I was a fan of him in The Last Dance, but, we do feel that stinging betrayal of him going to the Magic in '94, so I'll never forget that. Next up, we got Larry Johnson. Larry Johnson's actually really good. He's one of the more slept-on cards. I think he deserves to go in B tier, personally. Just because B tier is getting a little stacked, I will make the argument that Chris Webber probably deserves to be in A tier. David West probably does too. David West is actually really good, so I will actually move these guys up. Just because I'm about to add another member to A tier. Sharif Abdul-Rahim is absolutely insane. He is such a good card. I know. It's one of those things that a lot of people aren't going to agree with on that one, but look, if you watch my tier list, you know I have a love for the mid-2000 combo forward. So it's like, and this dude's one of my favorite ones. Not only that, but he's 6'9" with a 7-foot wingspan, right? He has decent badges, all gold finishing badges, pretty much everything you need, relentless, accurate, consistent finisher. And then he has like gold catch and shoot, hot zone hunter, green machine, which obviously whatever. He can get some playmaking badges. You can give him like break starter and like pass fake maestro. It's nothing crazy. But then he has good defensive badges. He has upgradable clamps. He's a complete card. I think, if I'm being honest here, he is the absolute lowest B tier player on this list. But I'm taking Sharif Abdul-Rahim over every single one of these cards in C tier. It's not even remotely close, especially at the power forward position. That being said, I'll probably take him over Giannis. I'm just not a huge Giannis guy. Depending who my center is, I'll probably take him over Buck Williams. But I probably play Buck Williams at center because he's such an interior defender and he's got, like, he can run pretty fast. I'll probably take him over Jermaine O'Neill just because he's faster. But that's just me. So anyways, that's the tier list, guys. Harass me in the comments down below if you don't like any of my picks. Other than that, drop a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new. Stay tuned. I'll be dropping the center tier list later today as well. Other than that, if you want to check out my podcast, go check out Will This Ever End. Go check out the Patreon, patreon.com/cheapludes, with a Z, just like the channel. Check out my Twitch. I'll be streaming. I'm going to go for some of the new unlimited reward cards later, so that's going to be fun. Other than that, as always, it's been your boy Cheap Ludes, and take it easy. Have a good day.